How many times have I come on the show saying, hey, if the Magic just made some shots, we'd be good? Well, here you go. Today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is November 30th, 2024. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You, of course, find me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD and on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. Today on Locked On Magic, the Orlando Magic are finally hitting three-pointers, and I don't think any of us know what to do with our hands. It's very, very strange. We'll break down how the Magic trusted their process and why their three-point shooting may have finally turned a corner. We'll get to that and reflect on the Magic at the quarter mark of the season coming up here in just a moment. First, we want to thank you for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day, no matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right we upload. We truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. And your favorite podcast, that's us, now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Magic Daily Newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox Monday through Friday. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic newsletter. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is also brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you can start with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. It's been the running theme of the season. Like, there's no getting around it. I can downplay it all I want, but life is easier when you make shots. Like, plain and simple, everything is easier. Your margin for error is wider. You can make mistakes. You can do all these things if you could only make a shot. And the Magic entering Friday's game, sitting in dead last in the league in three-point field goal percentage, the Magic just needed to make a shot. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope spending a good chunk of this first month of the season shooting 22% from three. That's not what we signed up for. That's not what we signed him for. And while we could say everything we want about the team's ability to play without making threes, their fantastic defense, their ability to force turnovers, their ability to get to the paint, all the things that are so central to the Magic and their path to victory, eventually they're going to have to make shots. And when we get to the playoffs, the Magic are going to have to make shots, plain and simple. And frankly, they don't even have to make a lot of them. Like, just an average offense from this Magic team is going to make them a 50-win team. Now, whether it'll work in the playoffs, we'll see from there. But the Magic were getting all the good looks that they wanted. Every number, every eye test would tell you this isn't a Magic team just chucking up threes, Washington Wizards. This isn't a Magic team that's just shooting threes for the sake of shooting threes, saying we got to hit this number. We got to get to 35 threes attempted. That's not who the Magic are. That's not what the Magic are doing. They were getting open looks. They were missing open looks. And at the end of the day, you got to trust that those shots are going to eventually fall. I know that's what I've been preaching to you guys. Annoyingly so. Saying, look, every number I'm seeing, my eye test is telling me they're getting the quality threes that good offenses get. And yeah, defenses might be sinking in the paint and saying, go ahead and shoot it, Magic. We don't think you're going to make him, and certainly not make him at a clip that would scare us. So be it. Nothing's going to change until the Magic actually make these shots. So what happens when the Magic start making these shots? What happens when the Magic do make a ton of threes? What happens is Friday night's game against the Brooklyn Nets, a 123-100 victory. That was, frankly, not close in the second half. Like the game against Charlotte, the Magic were shooting decently, were kind of not able to pull away, and then boom, all of a sudden, back-to-back-to-back threes in the second quarter. Jett Howard hits a three. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope hits a three off a dish from Franz Wagner. And then Franz hits a step-back three. 9 straight points turns a 4-point game into a 13-point game. The Magic go into the locker room up by 12 and then do not stop hitting threes. going 5 for 10 from 3 in the second half. I believe 5 for 10, 6 or 12 maybe. But they were shot 50% from 3. In the end, the damage for the Brooklyn Nets, at least, was done. Because, the Magic are still going to force a lot of turnovers and get downhill. The Magic are still going to get in the paint. And even if you shoot well, which Brooklyn did in this game, 49% shooting, 48.3% from 3, 14 for 29. Even if you shoot well, you're going to make too many mistakes. The Magic are going to pounce on those mistakes. They're going to play in their rhythm and at their pace. And then eventually, the Magic are going to make some threes. The Magic's size, the Magic's speed, the Magic's versatility, it's eventually going to get you. And when you look at the list, Franz Wagner's plus 35. Wendell Carter's plus 27. Goga Bitadze's plus 28. KCP's plus 31. The Magic didn't pull away with their bench like they normally do, but their starters came in and hammered the Nets over and over and over again. And the three-point shooting is a big part of this. The Magic shot 18 for 35 from 3, a season best 51.4%. The second best was 50% against the Nets back in October. They shoot 53% from the floor. Like I said, they force 20 turnovers for 34 points. They get 11 offensive rebounds, leading to 11 second chance points. They didn't convert there. That's actually an area they didn't convert in this game. But the three-point shooting stands out because if they shoot their normal 30%, they lose a lot of points. They lose 8 three-pointers or about 7 three-pointers. And that's the difference in a 23-point game. It's not to say the Magic wouldn't win if they didn't make those threes. They absolutely could have. But they blow teams out when they make threes. And look, anyone can have a good shooting game. Anyone can have one good game. What's different now is that this is now a pattern. This is now 3 straight games where the Magic have shot the ball incredibly well. Since the fourth quarter of the Magic's game against the Charlotte Hornets, when they made those back-to-back threes, they were 6 of 12, I believe, from 3 in that quarter, blew the game open in a game that they were struggling to shoot, struggling to just do anything right, and then boom, just hit Charlotte like a wave, and the Hornets staggered and were knocked out. Since that fourth quarter, the beginning of that fourth quarter, the Magic have now made 39 of their last 86 threes. They're 45.3% on threes over their last 2 games and a quarter. That is pretty darn good shooting. And all the process stuff that we've talked about, all the good looks that the Magic have missed, all the quality threes that they've taken, the 11.3 quarter threes per game that they're taking, which is now 4th in the league. They've dropped a little bit in that category. They went 5 for 10 on them in Friday's win. They're shooting 33.2% on corner threes this year. For whatever NBA.com data is worth, like I'm still skeptical about how they measure this, but it's a good little snapshot, so I do like using it. The Magic average 22.8 three-pointers where the closest defender is 6 or more feet away. 22.8 wide open threes. That's 3rd most in the league. Last year, they only attempted 18.2. They're making only 32.5% of these shots. The process has never been the problem for the Magic. They are getting open looks. For the most part, they are getting open looks for their best shooters. And they're just missing. And everyone on the Magic said, we're going to keep the faith. We believe in the shots we're taking. We just got to step in and shoot them confidently. And misses flow out. Misses spread to everybody. One guy misses, everybody keeps missing. And the Magic are not missing anymore. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope followed up a 6 for 10 shooting night from 3, shooting 4 for 5 for 19 points. Wendell Carter made his first 3 since coming back. Franz Wagner was 3 for 6. He's taking some difficult ones. Tristan Da Silva went 3 for 4. Jet Howard went 2 for 4. Cole Anthony made his only 3 in 3-17, didn't play a lot. The Magic are starting to hit threes. And if this carries over in any way, and look, they're not going to shoot 50% or 45% from 3 for the rest of the season. But if they're shooting 34, 35, 36% with the way the Magic play defense, that's a very high level team. I'm not going to say championship level team. That's a team that could go win the NBA Cup. Let's start there. This Magic team has taken some very big steps forward. And over the last three games, we're seeing what this team looks like when they make threes. And frankly, it should terrify the rest of the league. The Magic have officially passed the quarter mark of the season. We'll break down some lessons we've learned and where the Magic stand, especially in the NBA Cup, coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by Skylight Frames. Do you struggle to find the perfect gift during the holidays? It is that time of year now. It is officially that time of year. You can play your Christmas music. You can hang your lights. No one's going to judge you for doing it after Halloween, not giving Thanksgiving its appropriate respect and due time before we get into the holiday season. But look, it's time. You can start doing that stuff. No one's going to bug you. So maybe gift giving isn't your love language. You overthink it and wind up with something disappointing or just giving them a gift card, which is kind of lame and a cheap way out. Are you buying for someone who has everything or just seems unpleasable? Are you tired of wasting money on useless clutter that no one really needs? Well, we've got the perfect gift for you. Skylight Frame is a touchscreen digital photo frame your whole family will love. Upload thousands of photos with your phone and watch them appear in seconds. Let me rephrase that. Upload thousands of photos with your phone and watch them appear in seconds. It's so easy to use. Setup takes less than 60 seconds. There's seamless sharing, so you can invite friends and family to easily share photos that'll show up in the frame. The touchscreen is a game changer to swipe through photos, tap to see new photos sent, tap the heart button to say thank you to the sender. It looks beautiful in your home. Photos are displayed in HD resolution. You can choose from 5 different frame styles, set it up in portrait or landscape mode. And now, as a special limited time offer for our listeners, get $20 off your purchase of a Skylight Frame when you go to skylightframe.com/NBA. That's Skylight, SKYLIGHT frame, FRAME.com/NBA. Get $20 off your purchase now at skylightframe.com/NBA. If you guys know me, you know that I like to divide the season into quarters. We play 4 quarters in a game. It's a very simple way to sort of take a step back and think about. It's a way to take a step back and think about where we stand in the season and everything going on in the season. Again, it's a long season. 82 games is a long, long time. There's no getting around it. There's no changing that. And so we have to be able to digest things. The way the Magic are doing it this year internally is Jamal Mosley's kind of split the games into 7-game series, and the goal is to win every 7-game series. So far, the Magic have lost just one. They were 4-3 in their first 7. I believe they lost their next 4, 3-4 in the next one, and then I think they've been pretty good since then. Considering they've won 11 of the last 12 games. However you want to divide the season, I do think it is appropriate to take a step back and think about where we're at. So here's where we're at. Last year, through 21 games, the Orlando Magic were 14-7 and 3rd in the East. This year, through 21 games, the Magic are 14-7 and 3rd in the East. And when I looked that up, when I double-checked that, 2 things come to mind. First, it's a reminder that the season is very, very long. Because last year, the Magic really struggled in the second quarter of the season. I think they were 10-11 in the second quarter of the season. They fell and were fighting for 7th or 8th place for a little while before rising back to be the 5 seed in the Eastern Conference. So while the standings are very sticky, we're getting usually around game 30, 35, 7 of the 8 playoff teams are locked into place. They're not where they're going to end up seeding wise, but they're locked into place. The Magic have set themselves up well. Again, you can't win the game in the first quarter, but you can certainly lose it. The Magic have set themselves up well. But while the Magic are where they were last year, and we'll get to NBA Cup stuff here in a minute. While the Magic are where they were last year, this does feel different. As several people pointed out to me when I noted this on Twitter, the Magic are where they were last year, but they feel very different this year. It's not just that, oh, their defense looks a lot better or a lot more elite than it did last year. It's not that we're looking at anything else. It's they've done the majority of this without Paolo Banchero. Like, Paolo's really important to this team and a vital player for this group. And the Magic have not only survived so far without Paolo Banchero, and the Magic should get him back here in the next month. They've not only survived without Paolo Banchero, they are thriving. And you don't need to look any further than how the Magic have played in their NBA Cup games. You don't need to look and see the lessons that the Magic learned from last year's playoff trip any further than how the Magic have played in these quasi-important games. Because believe me, I think the Magic believe the NBA Cup is important. There might be teams that are like, oh, whatever, it's not that important. We got bigger fish to fry. The Magic have bigger fish to fry too. But you sense there is a little measure of revenge for not making it out of group play last year. That there is a sense of this is something we can win and something that can announce ourselves to the rest of the league, can be a test of what we learned from last year. The Magic have made it no secret that they believe they lost home court advantage last year. Or if they had home court advantage last year, they would have beaten Cleveland. And they made it very clear that protecting home court is very important. They're 9-0 at home, so that clearly matters to them. They believe that winning these little games, like beating Brooklyn, it's no small thing. Magic before Friday night only had 4 wins in like 25 games at the Barclays Center. That has not been an easy place to play for this Magic team. The Magic are taking all the lessons that they've learned from last year and applying them in real time. And that is a big part of their record. That is a big part of why they are third in the East. And honestly, the Magic would probably tell you they've underperformed too. Because if it weren't for that 5-game losing streak on that road trip when Paolo was first out, give them even 2 of those games back, and they're right up there with Boston and Cleveland. They're right up there. And so the Magic sit here at the quarter mark. Yes, with the same record they had last year. And yes, with still greater challenges ahead. But they sit here much more in control and understanding of this journey. Their maturity has taken a step up. And again, look no further than the NBA Cup. For as meaningless as you want to make this thing, I think it does mean something to the Magic. I think they're going for it. I think they want to win this thing. The Magic have come into this tournament and decided we're just going to take care of our business. Are these games any more special to them? I don't know. But they're playing like they're going to take care of their business. They're going to do the job. And obviously, like, Tuesday's a big test. Tuesday's going to be a challenge. No doubt about it. We're going to learn a lot about this team on Tuesday in New York against the Knicks. But last year, Orlando lost their first NBA Cup game by 20. They didn't take the tournament seriously. They may not even fully believe they could win the thing. Because again, they hadn't gone through the 9-game win streak yet. The 9-game win streak started the next game. They probably didn't fully believe they could win the thing. But when they got to the end, when they got to Black Friday, when they beat the Celtics, and then had to watch Boston erase their lead and take their spot, you could kind of tell the Magic said, oh, okay, every one of these games is important. This isn't happening again. So what have the Magic done? They beat Charlotte by 25. They beat Philadelphia by 12. They beat Brooklyn by 23. They have a plus 60-point differential. Essentially, this isn't exactly correct, but if the Magic lose on Tuesday by less than 31 points, they advance as the wild card. They win on Tuesday, they win the group. But the Knicks, I don't think the Knicks can advance unless they beat Orlando. The Magic have essentially advanced themselves. Not, this last game means something, and it's obviously still a regular season game. It still counts. But the Magic have shown up to this tournament on a mission. They've shown up to this tournament deciding we are going to win. And that's what the Magic have done. They've set goals for themselves and they've accomplished them. And as we sit here at the quarter mark of the season, that's the maturity and the poise that we expected to see from this team. Maybe not perfectly. And look, they have a bad loss to Chicago. The Memphis loss wasn't great. They're still going to get better. But they entered this season very serious about what they could do. Very serious about what they hoped to accomplish. And they're setting out to accomplish all of those goals, one by one by one. It has been impressive to watch. Like, no getting around it. It has been impressive to see this Magic team put these pieces together. And now we get to see them keep growing. We're just one quarter of the way through the season. There's still a long, long way to go. There are going to be challenges ahead. It's not going to be winning, the Magic aren't going to win 63 of their next 64 games. Like, that doesn't happen. But this Magic team is already starting to prove and show they are a more serious threat in the Eastern Conference than maybe people initially realized. Let's get back to Friday's game then. We'll go through the box score, talk a little bit about the individual performances we saw in the Magic's win over the Nets. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. If you're looking forward to NFL Sunday, they've got great odds on all the games, including the Jaguars as 3.5-point home dogs to the Houston Texans. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 5.5-point favorites over the Carolina Panthers. If you're looking forward to college football today, I know I'm recording this at 9:54, so maybe I'm late. Ohio State's a 19.5-point favorite over Michigan in the game. My Northwestern Wildcats are 8.5-point dogs to Illinois. We're keeping the hat, so bet on the Wildcats. Don't ever bet on the Wildcats. That's always a mistake. Florida and Florida State. The Gators, now 16.5-point favorites over the Seminoles in that big in-state matchup. And if you're looking at the NBA, they don't have the odds up for Sunday's game yet, but the Orlando Magic currently sitting at plus 850 to win the NBA Cup. The Golden State Warriors, your new favorites to win the NBA Cup at plus 480. The Magic at plus 850, a good value buy. In fact, the Orlando Magic are currently plus 165 to reach the semifinals of the NBA Cup. Interesting to note there. And yes, the Magic are minus 350, favored to reach the quarterfinals in the NBA Cup. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Let's run through the box score as we break down the Orlando Magic's win over the Brooklyn Nets, 123-100. This game was very sloppy early. I thought the Nets were able to play their pace and pick up the speed a little bit. So if Dennis Schroeder plays on Sunday, it's going to be a very different game. That's the one thing I do need to stress is the Nets are better when their veterans play. And Dennis and the Nets are significantly better when Dennis Schroeder plays. But having said that, the Nets were able to annoy the Magic a little bit. They sped them up. They forced some turnovers. The Magic turned it over 17 times for 19 points. The Magic were just better at playing that game. Brooklyn, again, turns it over 20 times, 34 points. Orlando did a great job, a better job than usual, getting out in transition and playing at a pace that they could control. And I think, Orlando, I think, has one of the slower or lower possession games in the league. So when they get to 123, that's a pretty big sign. Because like 105 or 106 or 110 is like a 123 for the Magic. So these are shooting pretty well. They're getting up and down the court a little bit more. I think that the Magic struggled to kind of find their rhythm. Brooklyn's physicality bothered them a little bit, or they weren't expecting it perhaps. And it took the Magic a while to find their footing. But like I said earlier, the Magic hit those back-to-back threes. They let Brooklyn hang around for much of the first half. It was a close game. Brooklyn just never could take the lead, and I get credit to the Magic's defense for that. Offense felt very bogged down, especially when Franz was out. It looked rough in segments. It's just like, okay, like something's got to break the lid. They got to get to the basket. They gotta find their way. So they made those back-to-back threes, went on an 11-0 run, took a 15-point lead late in the second quarter. It was like you could feel the exhale. You could feel the, okay, we got this. It's over. They're not coming back from this. And then the Magic not only took that lead, they put their foot down. That early third quarter was when this game really got out of hand. Orlando won the middle two quarters, 63-42. Like, that's your ball game. 28-20 in the second quarter, 35-22 in the third quarter. The fact that the Magic closed the second quarter so strong and then came out in the third quarter and just put their foot down, that's what good teams do. Plain and simple, that's what good teams do. They put their foot down and they step on the neck. They go for the kill. They go for the jugular. Whatever phrase you want, whatever gory phrase you want to use, the Magic just dominated Brooklyn at that point. Franz Wagner, incredible again. 29 points, 12 for 20 shooting, 3 for 6 from beyond the arc, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. He scored 21 in the first half. So he did a lot of damage keeping the Magic afloat, and then did his damage getting others involved. I don't have these numbers in front of me, and it would not surprise me if they're very good. I would bet at least half of Franz's assists ended in threes. And just looking at the box score as well, 4 of the 8 in the second half. I thought he did a great job moving the ball, getting it to open players, getting it to teammates, and just using the attention he's getting to free others up. Having said that as well, he was very slow through the first part of that third quarter. But once the Magic started making threes and once the defenses had to start defending that three-point line, that's when Franz was able to get downhill to the basket. It is a symbiotic relationship. Making threes makes Franz's life easier. It will make Paolo's life easier when he's back. I've said this a million times for the Magic. It's more about the raw number, keeping up and outpiecing the other team on made threes rather than the percentage. When the Magic make threes, it makes their offense a lot easier. The Magic can get, Franz said it, Fred said it after the game. We can have more games like this. They know this is possible. They know they can do this. It's just about making the shots and getting there. So everyone loves shooting in that gym. Barclays Center is well known throughout the league as one of the best kind of gyms for lighting in the league. Players love playing in that building. Magic finally were able to break through. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, another really nice game. 19 points, 7 for 8 shooting, 4 for 5 from 3, 3 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. Just, again, excellent defensive play. Got in for a ton of steals, ton of deflections. And then he's making his shot. And, he said after the game that, I believe he said after the game that the birth of his child, his son, has really freed up his mind. He's playing a lot freer now. And we're starting to see the Kentavious Caldwell-Pope that we thought we were getting. A really, really strong game for him. Jalen Suggs, 12 points, 6 assists. He did foul out, 5 for 12, 2 for 6 from 3. Added 3 rebounds, 3 turnovers. Not his best game, but again, Suggs getting the assists going, getting the ball moving. Still working on those flip shots and those mid-range shots. If he can get that down like he did on Wednesday, he becomes infinitely more dangerous. But, just kind of a solid, hold the boat steady game. Goga Bitadze, 8 points, 6 rebounds, 5 blocks. Right? For now, the Magic's duo of Goga Bitadze and Wendell Carter is working. Wendell Carter added 12 points, 4 for 5 shooting, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, did have 3 turnovers, did have a block, played 26 minutes. And Jamal Mosley said after the game he probably pushed him a little too far after playing him 18 minutes in the first game back. Honestly, like, as much as Mose is lamenting overplaying him at this point, I think it's a good sign that Mose isn't thinking about his minutes. He's playing so well. He's not thinking, I got to pull this guy back. He's letting him loose a little bit, which is good in his recovery. But let's get back to the big point I was trying to make. Goga and Wendell are still playing together. And it's working for now because Josh Giddey is a non-shooter. Ben Simmons is a non-shooter. So you can kind of hide Wendell on them. Like, he's good enough on the perimeter that he can meet him at a spot and hold him down. And look, Ben Simmons had 4 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists. So, he still did some things, but also 3 turnovers. The Magic, yet again, generally this lineup is working for now. And it's because Goga Bitadze can be a little bit of a roamer, block shots, and Dell will be there to crash down on his man and get the rebound. And so it's working. Like, Wendell Carter had 7 rebounds. He's rebounding really, really well this year. I know people are banging on his rebounding block. He's been rebounding well this year. This was a game where the duo worked really, really well together. And obviously it's not going to last forever. But it's working for now, and I think that's fine. And look, Dell is looking a lot better. Goga gives the Magic the element of being able to block shots above the rim that Dell doesn't quite give them. 5 blocks is certainly a sign of that. Off the bench, the Magic didn't really get a lot of scoring off the bench. Tristan da Silva had 13 points, 5 for 9 shooting, 3 for 4 from 3, 2 steals. Some of that coming late in the game, but again, just a solid. Tristan da Silva is looking a lot more comfortable. Jonathan Isaac with 8 points, 2 for 6 shooting, 4 rebounds, 2 steals and a block. So again, just typical Jonathan Isaac stuff there. Magic's bench not as strong in this game as it's been over the course of the season, but it all adds up in the end. Magic shoot 53%, 18 for 35 from 3. That's 51.4%, 17 for 22 from the line. They forced 20 turnovers for 34 points. Brooklyn only shoots 14 free throws. They're 10 of 14. They're 14 for 29 from 3, 38 for 77 from the floor overall. But the Magic the math just maths for the Magic. The Magic force a lot of turnovers, so they get those extra shots. They get to the foul line. They get to the paint. They won the paint 48-42. Their defense just suffocates you and keeps you from going where you want to go. And the Magic's defense could suffocate you for like 5-6 minutes, and they're going to use that to build a 20-point lead. That's kind of been the formula for the Magic all year long. You're just going to go through a period where you don't score, and the Magic are going to find a way to score enough points in that period to run away from you when their offense goes back in the tank. Offense never really went in the tank. Like, second quarter, there was a lot of struggle, but the Magic's offense was really good throughout the game. And again, making shots makes life so much easier. It's not a hard game, guys. It's really not. You make shots, you win. It's that simple. The Orlando Magic defeat the Brooklyn Nets 123-100. They're back in action in Brooklyn on Sunday afternoon, and that'll be the next time we see you. We'll talk to you after that game to break down the Magic's game against the Brooklyn Nets. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Which find me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD and on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. You can subscribe to the podcast and Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google, Spotify, Odyssey, and all of them makes podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us there on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. There you can find my 3 takeaways from every game. I have a free video up there right now breaking down how Franz Wagner has become an all-star. You can check that out at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. As always, thank you for your support. Also, be sure to check out the Locked On Magic Daily newsletter. It's the one-stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox Monday through Friday. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic newsletter. That's going to do it for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. For Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.